Hello everyone, I'm Rupam, founder and CEO of Aculi Labs, creator of Lifers and writer of the book Intimacy Lost for Man, The Birth of Lugal. Welcome you all to yet another episode, the episode number 12 of educational series Intimacy Loss. And in our educational series, we have been discussing about various fundamentals. We have been learning about various aspects of life, relationship dynamics, and various ways that you should be looking at different relationships, dynamics in the relationships, not only with respect to romantic relationship, but other forms of relationship, as well as with different aspects of your life. And today, in today's episode, we are going to cover a very important aspect called success. Success is the most abused word in modern world, where, as we have been discussing in all our episodes, that if you cannot go to Egypt to see the pyramid and don't bother to learn about the pyramid, all you can do is take a sandwich. I call this is a pyramid, and that is my perspective. And then keep telling the world that the sandwich is the pyramid. Success is one such term which has been quite used, abused, and people have used it in a different sense. So, as usual, our goal in today's video is going to be understanding what really success is, both from the scientific angle as well as we'll try to understand it the way a 5-year child could be explained what is success. Because eventually we all are living for success, don't we? Alright, so let's take a simple example of a product. As we know, in the modern life, every human being is being, to a degree or to a large extent, have been objectified into an object, and they have been reduced to human things. Society requires you to do certain roles, follow certain rules, and have a utilization of certain degree, and that determines your value in the society. So because we are all being objectified, and we have society look at us as something which has certain value, which plays certain role in the society. So therefore, let us take the definition of success from that area. Let's say you have a product. When you will say that is successful, number one, its longevity. It should last longer. You bring something and it just gets broken, you'd not call that a good product, right? So the first thing about calling anything successful is its longevity. How long it survives. The longer something that you buy or something that you bring in your life lasts, you call that successful product. So number one is longevity. Number two, what you look into the product, that the product should not malfunction. It should at least function the way it is, and it should not give you the headache of repair. It should not give you the headache of changing. It should not give you all those headaches. So the second thing that we look into any product is that the product should not malfunction. Its ability to continue to function makes a product successful. So we look into a mobile device. The mobile device drops, doesn't break down. We call it a good mobile device, a successful product. Then second thing is its software remains very consistent. It doesn't get changed. We call it a very successful device, good device. We don't call it successful, we call it good device. So Anything which lasts longer without malfunctioning is called a good one. And in comparison to the others, the longer one lasts with least malfunctioning, we call them very good. Something like that. The third thing that you look into is efficiency. That is how much of your effort the product reduces. For example, if mobile device, before the mobile device, you had to had a camera, you had to carry a camera, you had to carry a Walkman to listen to the music, you had to carry a laptop for accessing the internet, and you had to carry a calculator, you had to carry various other things with you if you were productive. Mobile device has reduced all of them into a single device. So we call a mobile device, a smartphone, a very successful innovation, a good product, because it reduces a lot of your works and you don't have to carry multiple things. So the third thing is the utility of a product, based on which we call whether that product is a good product or a bad product, successful product or an unsuccessful product. Number one is longevity. Number two, how less headache it gives you in repair and maintenance. That is the product's ability to function without malfunctioning. And the third thing is its utility. The more a product is utilized, the more a product solves your problem or reduce your work, you call that product more utility product. It's a good product. The fourth one that we look for is efficiency. Now suppose you were carrying a mobile device which would lose its power within 30 minutes. Its battery is drained in 30 minutes. It does a lot of functionalities much better than other mobile devices, but its battery is gone within 30 minutes. You wouldn't be carrying such devices, would you? The reason you would not be doing that is we do not want to put a lot of fuel into our devices. Any electrical device, say for example air conditioning, if the air conditioning is consuming a lot of electricity, however good that product is, however longevity that product may have, however less malfunctioning that the product does, and however other functionalities that the product has, for example climate control, humidity control, and so on and so forth. But if it is consuming a lot of electricity, you don't call that a good product. So fourth thing that we look into a product is how energy efficient that product is. That is very important, right? So longevity, less malfunctioning, more utility, less energy. These are the four primary things which makes a product good product. Now, if somebody creates, innovates, manufactures a product which will last longer, which will be solving a lot of problems, which doesn't malfunction, which doesn't which doesn't consume a lot of energy. For example, Lifers, which is a mobile application, a diagnosis tool, an assessment tool that assesses your physiology, psychology, and pathology at any given state of any given instance. Can be used in the emergencies, can be used in critically correlating various part of the body. So you can check out Lifers from lifers.com application, by the way, which I created a few years back. And that doesn't have too much of issues that once you start using it, it doesn't require you to repair it. It's a software, mobile software application. It does a lot of things: diagnosis, monitoring, assessment, root cause detection, It is very easy. It just requires an Android phone for you to have, and therefore, uh, and it's proven, so it's quite a valid product. Now, having that doesn't make it a successful product. In order to be successful, along with longevity, non-malfunctioning, utility, energy efficiency, there is a fifth thing which is required, that is how many number of people uses it. If a product solves the problem of a lot of people, then the product is more valuable. So the value comes from how many people are using that product. A product may be quite good, quite rugged, quite, it may solve your various problems without consuming a lot of energy. But if the product is not used by a lot of people, then the product is not successful. These are the 5 ways we look into a product. So, along with the product being good, it is equally essential to take the product to a lot of people. And this is as many people who uses the product makes the product eventually successful. That's how we look into a product, right? Apple products, you buy it, it's costly, but you buy it, then it lasts for a very long period of time. It doesn't malfunction, it doesn't give you too much of headache in terms of software problems, in terms of other problems. It is energy efficient, lasts long, then it is being used by a lot of people. There is a 6th aspect of it, which is security. Yes, the product life is more, it is being used by a lot of people, it doesn't give you headache, it doesn't malfunction, it does solve a lot of your problem, it doesn't consume too much of energy. But if the product is not safe, then it is not a successful product. For example, if the mobile phone, imagine if the mobile phone needed your blood to run, every time you have to switch on the mobile phone, you have to draw a venous blood and give it to the mobile. However utility that mobile device would have had, you would not be using it, would you be? Absolutely, because security and safety is the 6th inherent thing. So these are the way that we look into the product. Let's define it once more. If we are to call a product successful, the product should have a good longevity. Number 2, it should not malfunction. Number 3, it should be having good utility, that is solve multiple problems of yours. Number 4, it should be energy efficient, that is it should not consume a lot of energy. Number 5, it must be used by a lot of people. And number 6, it must be safe to use. These are the 6 primary ways we in the object world we look into the things, whether something is successful or not. Based on that you call whether a company is successful or not. Microsoft is a successful company because it has been launching the Windows operating system since 1995 and pretty much has powered the computer generations. Now there is one more aspect to it, and that aspect is a product being long, surviving for long doesn't necessarily make that product a very successful product. We want that product to be updated, upgraded, right? Of course, Pentium 3 computers were a very good computer. However, they cannot be used a great deal today because they are not updated. The world has changed significantly, so those cannot be updated. However, for example, the MS Word which continuously has gone through updation and upgradation, and therefore is a more successful product than Pentium 3. However, if you can combine multiple Pentium 3 processors, multiple Pentium 3 CPUs in a good network and can run a parallel computing service, then they become utilizable. However, let's not look into that. What we should look into it is a product is upgradable. So this is the seventh dynamic that we look into, whether the product updates itself, upgrades itself with the age or not. What is its adaptability, right? So longevity, non-malfunctioning, utility, energy efficiency, safety, number of people uses it, that is use, and the seventh one is adaptability. So now we have a very good definition of how we consider any product that we use in day-to-day life a successful product, a valuable product. Anything which is valuable, we call it successful, right? All right. Now, because human lives are being objectified since the beginning of the civilization, when the city came, of course, our view, the way that we will be looking into every human being, will also be around these dimensions. So let's compare a human being of today with a successful product. So what is success? Number one, longevity. So if a person lives longer, then we'll call his life a successful life. Of course, if somebody lives for 100 years, he is more successful than somebody who is living for 50 years, because he will be, longevity. But just because one is living for 100 years, we will not be knowing about them, they may not be as useful for the society. So for 100 years, one should not be having too many of health problems. So a human being, if lasts longer or lives longer without much of a health problem, then first two parameters have been met. The third parameter is utility. Of course, if one is doing certain work, say somebody is an entrepreneur, somebody is a researcher, somebody is a teacher, somebody is an author who is contributing at large to the society, is useful for a lot of people, then he is a successful person. For example, Steve Jobs was a successful person because he gave to the world something that is being used by a lot of people even today. Bill Gates was a successful individual because he gave something to the world, Microsoft operating system, which drove a lot of information age of today. Mr. Lee, who invented internet, is a successful person. Leonardo da Vinci was a successful individual. Einstein was a successful individual because they contributed to the world something that is being used even till today. So as much of contribution you make, it makes you more of an utility for the current generation as well as the future generation. So so if your contribution can run past generations, for example, Sir Isaac Newton, William Shakespeare, Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, and way back Plato, Aristotle, who existed about 2200 years back, and still they are valuable and meaningful in our life. So the third aspect that we look into a human success is how much utility he is bringing to the current society and how much utility he will have past his physical life. Fourth thing is, as usual in the product, the fourth dimension was energy efficiency. So if a person is consuming billions of dollars to produce E is equal to mc square, then we wouldn't have called Einstein a successful individual. If Einstein had made 500 billion US dollar to come up in order to be able to come up with E is equal to mc square, we wouldn't have been certainly calling Einstein a successful people. Yes, Bill Gates is rich, Steve Jobs is rich, but we always name Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, Aristotle, Plato, Galvanic, Galvani, and such individuals much before. For example, Galileo Galilei, such individuals much before we name Bill Gates, because Bill Gates was not energy efficient. He consumed a lot of world finances in order to produce that. So fourth thing is energy efficiency, that is how less one is consuming the resources of the world in order to produce what the utility that world is having. The next one is obviously how many people are using it. So if you are a teacher in a local school, you have less utility. If you are a teacher in a big research like laboratory, then you are more meaningful. Then if you are running multi-organization research, then you are more valuable, and so forth. So if your work impacts small amount of people, say for example, if one is running a local restaurant, it will impact few thousand lives in the local area. But if somebody is the head of a commando training school, international, let's say international commando training school, where commandos from all the countries, where the able military person from all the countries have been sent to take the commando training, then that school, that individual who is running that school, is much more valuable, because it is impacting a lot of countries' safety, utility. So the number of people that you bring utility to, that gives success. Then upgradation, of course, economy changes, world changes. If something is surviving, some of the beer companies that existed in Turo, for example, in Vienna and Germany, are 200 years old. Of course, they are more successful because they've been upgrading themselves. And for example, schooling. First school got created in England during the Roman time, and that still exists today. It has gone through several updations. For example, Sunday school. For example, STEM subjects, from religious subjects to STEM subjects, and so on and so forth. So it has gotten upgraded. Just like that, a human life, as he grows, if he learns and if he adapts, he is more successful. So this is pretty much how you can define the success. However, there's a big however. We are human beings. There are human things. Even though the society, government, people would want you to become an iPhone, it would expect you to consume least energy, that is, take less money, don't get ill, do a lot of work, 18 hours, 20 hours, whatever you can, be meaningful for a lot of people. The problem is that human beings cannot do that. Something that a human being produces can be like that, can be successful. But a human being cannot be successful in that way, because we are a being. So, how would you define the success of a being? We cannot deviate a great deal from the products, because we are looking into the world from the object view as classes and objects, utility, cost, energy, benefit. We don't even know that we are not able to distinguish between the life and non-living objects. We are pretty much looking at humans as an utility thing rather than a life being. So, how would you call human life a success? So, let's take it in this fashion. If you live more, then you'll be successful, of course. So, Warren Buffett is living a great life for a very long period of time and hasn't fallen ill. So, we can call Warren Buffett a very successful man. A lot of the people who work with him, their age is about 90 years, 95 years. And in an interview, Warren Buffett joked there was somebody who worked with him, a lady worked with him for about 50 years. She became 98 and she quit the job, and she said that the rest of the life that I wanted to live in peace, and she died. So Warren Buffett jokingly said that if you do not want to die early, just stay back with our company. And so of course that's he created an ecosystem where people are living up to the age of 100. So that's very much a very successful life. Also, at the same time, they create a lot of utilities. So Warren Buffett and his colleagues, his team has been able to drive a lot of economy very smoothly because they invest into companies and then they make sure that the companies function the way they should function. Very important. The third thing, if you look into Warren Buffett's life, energy. Warren Buffett doesn't consume an energy. He drives an old car. He stops by the same shop and in the morning, which is very close by his office. He doesn't travel too much. He travels by the same old car. He stops by that shop and have burger, and there hasn't been too much of change in the life. He doesn't buy a lot of great cars or spends a lot of money. And in fact, if you look into the lives of most of the successful people, a lot of them, they sleep in the ground, one single bedroom apartment. Pretty much Mark Zuckerberg also lives in used to live, I do not know at this moment what he does, but pretty much a single bedroom apartment, ground. Steve Jobs, same thing, one t-shirt, jeans, blue jeans, and then he used to have a very small room, and so on and so forth. So these were all very energy efficient. People did not consume too much of energy, did not have too much of desires. Of course, they impacted a lot of life. A lot of people got used the services and the products that these people created. Also at the same time, they kept on getting updated and upgraded, of course, because you cannot survive for that long if you do not get updated and upgraded. And so all in all, these lives are successful. But if you are to really philosophically look into human life, the philosophy will also take you in that direction. How? Primarily, we are biological beings, and you look into the success of the biological beings in three ways: survive, thrive, and reproduce. Alright, so survive, the longer that you live. Thrive, the more you make your environment safer, the more you make your species better and make the world better for others to survive. That's thrive. So you are not really always under the the pressure of threat. No. So survive, thrive, and reproduce. That is, you are able to reproduce. Is not always producing babies, by the way. Reproduce is that you are carrying your gene forward. Humans, as we know, has mirror neurons. So anybody who is staying with you, and if you are following a good lifestyle, you are successful, then and that person will automatically start copying you without his knowing. They will then their mirror neuron will be copying you, and they'll be physiologically coupled with you slowly over a period of time. Their genes are going to be transformed because we carry all the genes. They're turned off, but as people live with you, those turned off genes will be turned on by vicinity of you. So you can reproduce in a large number without really producing babies. So there's three things: survive, thrive, and reproduce. Further, so now if you live for 100 years, let's now shorten that up. If you live for 100 years and you are meaningful to a lot of people, you are creating something which is being used by the world globally, without any health problems. Of course, if you have health problems, you are not living up to the age of 100 anyways. So if if you are not beneficial for the world, eventually you are not going to live up to the age of 100 anyways. You just cannot be not meaningful and still live for the age of 100, right? Because then you'll not be having the resources which are required for a long life. You'll not have good people in life, good advisors in life, good friends in life, good intellectual partners in life, good living environment in life. So if you are not meaningful to the world, you are anyways not going to be having those things that will make your life longer. So all in all, let's shorten it down. That let's assume that a human being can survive only up to the age of 100, only if he has a utility, that is, he is beneficial for the world. A lot of people, he is beneficial for a lot of people. He doesn't malfunction, that is, he doesn't get ill quite often. The third thing then becomes that he upgrades. Of course, generation after generation, he can support. His knowledge is up to the level, his work is up to the level. He doesn't sell a bullock cart in the age of rocket, right? He has updated, and also at the same time, he doesn't threaten people. That is, he is not a ruler who is just going over other countries, attacking the other countries. He's a safe person. He doesn't consume a lot of energy, which means that he doesn't consume every country's economy, and he doesn't go into chartered plane. He doesn't go into big cars, big places, and still become meaningful. So all of this together makes you something who lives for 100 years. So you reduce everything. You can say a successful life is a life that has lived for 100 years. Because if other parameters are false, then you are anyways not going to be living for 100 years. So you have to be meaningful, you have to be helpful, you have to not malfunction, you have to update, you have to not threaten people, you have to be accepted by people, and that's all. You have to be consuming a lot lesser energy and provide the safety. Tell people that they are safe. You'll be taking care of them when the bad time comes. All of this together makes a life successful, and you live for 100 years. Let's now understand that what is aging, why humans would die anyways, why humans cannot live like banyan tree. Banyan tree lives for thousands of years. Why then human life doesn't live for that longer? Why life is short? There is a reason for that. The reason is that our cells keep track of. It doesn't understand 24 hours. It doesn't understand 365 days, right? So every cell wants to be in the equilibrium. You know that the universe is in energy equilibrium. There is a law of thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created, nor it can be destroyed. It transforms from one form to another form, and the entire universe wants to stay in equilibrium. Therefore, the human body also wants to remain in the equilibrium, that is, work, rest, work, rest, work, rest. That's how everything works. Work, rest, work, rest. And this balance is needed for anything. And this equilibrium, this energy equilibrium, that is positive energy, negative energy, positive energy, negative energy in the life. Sodium plus ions, potassium ions, then neutral. Positive, negative, neutral, positive, negative, neutral. Work, rest, work, rest, work, rest. This equilibrium is important for a human being to survive for 100 years. So, in some of the classes, in some of the sessions, we have talked about autonomic nervous system. Let's introduce the concept there. So each of your cell remembers how much of energy it has spent, and based on that, the life progresses. That's how age is maintained in your body. So if you remain in equilibrium, of course, the rate of aging is very slow. Simple rule, right? If you work, rest, and in the equal order, then the aging of the cell is very slower. Energy spent, then regained. Spent, regained. Spent, regained. The progress is very slow. The aging is very low. And that can be achieved. That can be achieved by the balance. And this balance in human life is maintained by a system called autonomic nervous system. So there is a nervous system, a branch of the nervous system called autonomic nervous system. Brain, it connects all the organs. The autonomic nervous system has two branches, the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is like an on part of the switch. So whenever heart beats, it's due to sympathetic nervous system, and then it relaxes parasympathetic nervous system. We already have learned that in the previous classes. And so this sympathetic parasympathetic balance is something, and of course in the intimacy laws you would be able to read a lot of these factors. So intimacy laws books, of course, so you can take the book from Amazon or get it ordered from us. But the thing is, so we have this sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, and there is a balance. And whenever you want to work more than what your body can do, that's called a stress. For example, you see a snake and you have to either run, or you have to fight the snake, or you'll just be frozen, freeze, or run, or confront. So the three modes that you can respond to any threats, any real threats. So for example, if you want more than what you need in life, if you don't understand that, so you'll always want more. You'd want more. And therefore your body will always have to work more than it can work. That's called a stress. It is the pressure, is the force, is the extra force that is being applied even at the cellular level, because it has to generate more energy than it can. It's like pushing a car, accelerator, you're pushing about 150, 160 miles. That's like the high speed, but the car is going to get broken down very fast. If you are driving the car at that high speed, car can reach up to that maximum speed, but if you are always driving the car at the maximum speed, the car is going to break down very quickly, as you might have seen in the Formula 1 racings, that they have to frequently change the tire, refuel and observe the engine and everything, because the higher you take the speed, its maintenance costs become that much more higher. It breaks down that much more higher. So anything that you drive at top speed will always have a lesser life because the force is more. So you understand, if force is more, life will be lesser, the stress will be more. There is a simple formula. Force, that is stress or pressure, is equal to force divided by area. Let me repeat. Pressure is equal to force divided by area. So if slowly you are applying force, pressure will be less. But if you are applying a lot of force on a bigger area, okay, it's a bigger area. But what if you are applying a lot of force like this, the area is smaller, the force is very high, your finger will be broken, right? That's what happens with life. Area becomes smaller and force becomes larger, then those cells break, systems break. So what is area? Brain. Brain handles everything. So if your brain has shrunk, and remember, in last 3000 years, European woman's brain has shrunk from 1500 cc to about 1240 cc, about 250 gram decrement in just 3000 years in a brain that has grown over a million years. Quite surprising, right? Yeah. So let's suppose your brain was like this and you are applying the force. It could still take the force, right? But if your brain is like this and you are applying the force, you'll face more problem. Now if you are applying the force over here, you'll feel more problem, and then got it. So everybody has a lot of brain mass. Not everybody is using every part of the brain. There is an emotional brain, there is memory, there is logical brain, there is consciousness, frontal brain consciousness, back brain, cerebellum, where the memory is stored, midbrain, hypothalamus, and then there is a hippocampus region which is coordinating the memory and various part of the brain. So if you're not using all part of the brain, if the brain area is shrunk to that, you see you react, you see you react, you see you react. And you want more. You want $1 billion, $1 trillion. But you are just focused. They say, right, focus. A lot of things in the modern day is completely gone. So they say, focus on it. So you apply pressure, force with focus, complete focus, but the area is less. And then everything will be broken. So you will die early. Your body will break down. Once your body starts breaking down, you're not going to go to a far distance. Would you be comfortable to take a world tour in a car whose engine is unstable? You won't, right? Would you even be comfortable driving a car for a 600-kilometer journey without checking its tire, engine oil, and other things? You'd always make sure that the car doesn't break down, right? Now, you're applying a lot of force in a small area. What will happen? Car will break down. And if the car breaks down in every 20 kilometer and you have to repair it, you are anyways going to abandon that car, right? That's right. The same way, if humans put a lot of focus, it's a lot of pressure, focus on a small area, completely kill it, become successful, focus, go all out. Smaller area, small part of the brain, focus, achieve, get more. Stress is equal to force divided by area. Brain area is less, force is more, breaking down is more. And then the body malfunctions. When the body malfunctions, you get ill. When you start remaining ill, you are less beneficial for the world, don't you? Because you are not going to anyways carry a car that breaks down every 10 kilometers with you for a long journey. So people starts dumping you. People starts going out of your life. You start becoming alone. The more you become lonely, the world becomes harder because a lot of work you have to do it yourself. Other people are not doing. So a lot of things that makes your life safer, easier, will be evaporating from your life. Your financial support system will evaporate. Your ecosystem will go away from you. Your own family will go away from you. Right? So if you start remaining ill, people may provide you sympathy. They may still go through and give you the healthcare service, the other things, but people know in their mind that you would not be able to be productive. So your value to people's life are being less, and therefore, even though you recover, you know that nobody wants to carry you in a long journey. So because you are not part of a long journey, of course, your life is going to shorten down because you'll then have depression. The force will be from the other way around. Small area, force. It is earlier you pushed, now there is a force. There's a force outside. Body will break down further. Aging will be faster. And so, you will not be living a long life, and therefore, because longevity criteria itself has failed, you will not be living longer, right? And whenever there is more force, of course, if you do it very carefully, but if you push over here, you will see a pain. If you over here, it is now having to withstand a lot. So there is a pain, and that pain will remain even after you remove the force. If you kind of bend your finger like this, if you so you are pushing it, your finger has to be straight, but you are pushing the finger. This is the excess force we are applying over here. Now leave it. For some period of time, you will feel the pain. Try to move this finger now. You will see the finger has a pain, right? It is not really recovered. It is not really healed. So after we have bent this finger, it may take about 1 hour for the finger to recover. Why? Same thing. Force divided by area. However, if I do this like this is more area and the force is same. It will recover much earlier. So, your body has sympathetic system, parasympathetic system. But whenever you are applying excess force, it's in the sympathetic mode. See, I have done that, and still the finger is feeling the pain because. So imagine, this is the amount of force you are putting onto your brain because somebody has said, focus, success. Then, this finger, I cannot do any work with this finger at this moment because it's paining, right? Over a long period of time, if I do this every day, will not be able to use this finger at all. So because 1 out of 10 fingers will not be usable, a lot of work I'll not be able to do, right? Can't trigger, safety is gone. I can't do a lot of work, so without this finger I have to then do my work, and then I'll be putting weight on another finger. Now imagine over a period if you are just left with one hand, your efficiency will be reduced, right? You cannot work, it's always in pain. So if you continue to put weight at a smaller area, the pressure will remain always higher, and pressure is going to break you down. Your body is going to suffer, and then you will become less meaningful for the people. And as much as this force that you apply, if to a degree brain knew that okay, morning 10 to 11 you will be applying an excess force to the brain, and then you will be giving it 3 to 4 hours to take rest. The way that I am giving rest to my finger, a lot of pain is gone, but still if I move I can feel this. So brain knows, okay, I'll be given enough time to recover. As such, when brain is getting the time to recover, it will again heal back. So if I give 3 hours break to this finger is going to be again same as the above. But if I don't give, and again I put the load, over a period of time this finger is going to be unusable pretty much with the pain. So taking the physics law, the force divided by area is equal to stress, and any stress that we apply gets applied into our sympathetic system. So if this is the sympathetic parasympathetic system, then sympathetic system starts taking that pressure, the stress, which is being handled by your body through a hormone called cortisol. We're not going to go deep inside that anymore at this time. However, so understand. So the more they say that you focus and then you have success, it's not like that. Your body breaks down, your brain breaks down. And finally, you are not an utility for the world. You go. Therefore, you cannot give back anything to the world. You're unsuccessful then, isn't it? If you live for 50 years, of course you'll be less unsuccessful than the one who is living for 100 years. You don't want to die at 50, right? So, the interesting thing is, you have to keep increasing the area of your brain, that is, expand your knowledge, go deeper. Don't just create opinions and perspective, go deeper to research. Increase your brain area. Alright, increase your brain area. Reduce the force a little bit, what you desire. Keep that in check. So if you are always looking for $1 billion, the force is very high. It's never getting reduced. There is not a very long period of time that your brain can take it. So you'll be broken down. And once you're broken down, once this finger is broken, you can repair it. But the finger will not be working in the way it worked as naturally. Right? So, taking these factors into consideration, if we keep a sympathetic and parasympathetic balance, which of course life is purely dependent upon this science, not purely, it's one of the fundamental foundation science. And the book intimacylaws.com uses a lot of life as data, life as insight, and learns from this science. Intimacylaws.com book is a lot of scientific, it's not only purely historical or philosophical, a lot of science comes in, which comes in from life as, which is autonomic nervous system. So if you are able to reduce this autonomic stress, that is less force, more area, then of course you remain in autonomic homeostasis for a very long period of time, and you can check that autonomic homeostasis using lifers. See, if you remain autonomic homeostasis every day, then you are literally not aging. Your age is going very slower. So of course you are going to live for a very long period of time. You are still going to consume more energy. You're still going to expend more energy. You're still not going to live for 300 years like turtles. And still, you're going to live a lot longer with a lot less health problems. And because fundamentally it's you're increasing the area, depth in the brain, side in the brain, you're increasing your visualization, you're increasing your depth of scientific knowledge, history, philosophy, science, various science, not just becoming expert. Expertise is like this, focus on one thing is anti-life, is anti-success. It doesn't happen. Theoretically, scientifically, in no way it makes you successful by focusing on one thing, because if you focus on one thing, your brain area is reducing, you are applying more pressure onto a single thing, which makes you unsuccessful because it breaks your body, brain, and once it is broken, you are of no utility to the world. Your sexual life gets affected, your sleep gets affected, digestion gets affected, excretion gets affected, your energy gets affected, you give negative vibe to the people, we already know that. And so each of these dimension, one after the other, starts getting affected, and finally people just evacuate you. And you think, I love them. Why did they go? No, it doesn't matter what you do. You're giving negative vibes, you're giving negative energy because you're focusing on only one thing and putting a lot of pressure into that one thing. Brain area is shortened. That's the core. However, if you increase the horizon of your brain, go deeper, go slower, learn a lot, and create something that lasts for centuries, not just for today. Don't produce chocolate, people eat, that's gone. But if you produce a chocolate manufacturing system, let's say it's an agricultural system, if you create something that is going to last past your life, then at that time, in order to create something that will remain even when you don't remain, you have to learn a lot. It's just not by fluke you can do that. It's a lot of learning, real life learning, and failing. You are going to fail, learn, experiment, learn. Nobody can teach you how to do this. Nobody can give you gyan. Nobody can advise you because if somebody is into the life of exploring this, he doesn't have time to advise, and those who doesn't will advise. So when you create something so exceptional that is going to last beyond your life, then you have to learn a lot more. And when you know more than anybody else knows, and not only you know that just by reading, then you automatically become meaningful for the world because you can withstand more pressure. You know more things, how to handle pressure. A lot of people gets dependent upon you to take their decisions. That's how you become successful. So in order to, let's summarize, if you are to become a successful human being, you have to live for at least the age of 100 without falling ill, without any illness. Simple success. And in order to live for 100 years, you have to balance, keep your sympathetic and parasympathetic system balanced. If you just eat and sit, then nobody is going to give you the food for free, right? So you'll be under pressure. But if you are running very fast, desiring more food, 1,000 times more growth, 10,000 times more growth, in those situations, you're putting more pressure onto a single thing. Like the law, you're dead. So, people, whatever they call success, is not really a success. That's just a victory. A shortened definition. You have a small win. You have a small win. So, for example, Apple iPhone launch, a small win. First user buying Apple iPhone, small win. These are small wins. Apple iPhone surviving almost 2 decades is the win, and that goes well past Steve Jobs' life, isn't it? So success is longevity, 100 years of life without getting ill. If you have any sort of illness, you are not successful. Any illness, diabetes, hypertension, any illness, you are not successful. However money you have, because your life is going to be shortened, you'll be worried about your health. Your focus, a great degree, will be your health. People will start going away from your life because nobody carries a car, nobody rides a car that breaks down quite often. So, success is longevity, living a life up to the age of 100. And you can only do that when you can balance your sympathetic and parasympathetic system. And you can only balance your sympathetic and parasympathetic system if your brain area is quite high and the force is not very high, and you produce something which is beneficial for a lot of people, and they would remain beneficial for a very long period of time, even past your lifetime. So everything that you study today, these days, 10 ways to be successful, that's not right. Success is the autonomic homeostasis of your body for a long period of time. You become successful by becoming slow. Because when you are slow, you're able to see the world in a much broader way. And then you can create something which lasts very long. Not that is something that is meaningful today. Today it doesn't matter. You have to have that ability. The whatever I'm creating should survive the test of the time. Not 15 seconds funny videos. Nobody cares that tomorrow. Don't have any value tomorrow. So success simply is keeping the stress of life lower. Stress is equal to force divided by area. Area is brain area, force is the desire, the targets. If you keep the targets, you're not yet discussing about goals, ambition, target, what you want to achieve in the short term. We know that the life should be valuable in the short term and the long term. So whatever you want to achieve in the short term, 5 years timeline is a short term in terms of the life. So whatever you want to achieve in the next 5 years, it's too high. If you want to achieve $1 billion, the force is quite high. And if you don't want to achieve too high, say you want to just achieve that, okay, for next 5 years, let me have my food, then you will be less meaningful to the world. You see the paradox? But you don't want to achieve more. Let's say that you are happy with your school teacher's job. You are teaching some of the students. That's all your life is about. Just going, you are enjoying the life. But you're less meaningful. So it is not a working towards more pressure. Now, just keep your hand like this and just keep it for half an hour and then see. Even if you are not applying any pressure, just but body is ready, right? Body is ready. So this is ready. You are not applying any pressure. Just keeping your hand. Just keep it like 15 minutes. And you will see that it has started paining. So reducing the force. See, by now, if you are keeping the hands like this, has it started paining? That's it. So if you're not doing anything, if you're doing less work, your brain is still ready for the work. It still pains. So targeting less is also a problem. So if the targeting more is a problem, targeting less is a problem, then how to measure the success? Well, it's very simple. The irregularity in the homeostasis of autonomic nervous system is called anxiety. The imbalance in the autonomic nervous system, the irregularity of that imbalance. There is an imbalance and then there is an irregularity of the imbalance. That irregularity of the imbalance is called anxiety. The way that you understand. Heartbeat. A lot of over worry. That's anxiety. So, simply put, anxiety means there is no autonomic homeostasis. So, the more you are anxious, the less you are having autonomic homeostasis. So, by the definition, if your balance is lesser, you will be more ill. If you are more ill, you are less valuable and you are going to survive for less period of time. So because you are going to survive for a less period of time, you are going to be less meaningful. So you are a failure. So in order to be successful, you have to keep your anxiety lower. That's a measurable metrics. So in simple terms, success is equal to 1 by anxiety. Success is inversely proportional to anxiety. If you don't feel anxiety, you are successful. If you feel anxiety, you are not successful. So the simple formula, simple principle of life is success is equal to 1 divided by anxiety. The good thing is, you can calculate your anxiety. Lifers is a clinically proven anxiety tool. So you can take the services of Lifers. You can also do a simple anxiety test online through our online tool. The links have been given in the description below. And in order to understand the whole notion of anxiety in much more detail, you can read the book Intimacy Laws for Men, The Birth of the Lugal. Of course, it is strictly not for the girls. And I'm also leaving behind a self-assessment tool for success. So, if you don't feel anxiety for a long period of time, you are successful. So, how you don't feel anxiety is then the way that you should start taking your life. What is the success of relationship? Relationship is made of you and your partner. So if you are not anxious, the partner is not anxious, then it's successful. Because it's a connection. If you are anxious, the partner will also be anxious, because any relationship is an energy transfer, right? So, in a simple sense, if you are not anxious, you are successful, your relationship will also be successful. Reduce your anxiety. That's only definition of your success. What you achieve doesn't make you successful. Your ability not to become anxious is your success. That's all for today's episode. We started we started by seeing the world as an object, and then we took the success definition. We came till here. We saw what makes objects successful. We saw what are the things that makes a human life successful. And if you're not anxious, of course, you are going to live longer. You are not going to break down. You are going to consume less fuel. You have to eat less. In autonomic homeostasis, the body doesn't need much of food. Then you'll be able to create meaningful things. Why? Because your brain, the autonomic homeostasis achieves only when your brain expands. When your brain expands, you'd always be creating much more valuable thing than the other people can create. And when your brain expands, you remain cool, not anxious. You understand the world in a better way. You can create something that lasts for 100 years. Somebody or the other will be able to see the value into what we're creating and would want to take that to the world. That's how you become valuable. Thank you, as usual, for investing your time, emotion, energy into understanding the fundamentals. Do take this learning forward into your life. Think through your life. See you in the next episode tomorrow. And if you want to listen to audio podcast, the link is given in the description below, and other links that I have mentioned are also given in the description below. Also, you can buy the book from Amazon, intimacylaws.com, which will give you a completely new way of looking into yourself and the world. And I'm very certain that you're definitely going to love that book. You can get it from Amazon, or you can order it from us at a much lower cost. Thank you. See you tomorrow.